It's 2023 and you're gonna have to get them people their stuff back right now, okay? Hello. I'm so glad that y'all are here today just to tune in with me. We are talking about false burdens today. We are talking about setting some boundaries. We're trying to go into the new year strong. We're trying to go into the new year with our mentality correct. We're trying to go into the new year with our goals. Let's see. We're just trying to go into the new year in a more balanced position. And just like over the years, talking with people, just dealing with people, even myself, I was definitely like at a bad point one time where like sometimes you feel like anything anybody asks you to do, you need to do it, or you feel like you don't want to say no, or you feel like I have to do this because somebody did something for me a long time ago. All these different things we feel and we commit ourselves to for no reason. Like in our mind we say it's for a reason, but it's really for no reason. It's really just out of guilt. And we have to kind of break those things if we're trying to go into a stronger place in our life. We setting all these goals and resolutions and different things, but life happens. Some things are going to come up in your own life, but what happens when things come up in your own life and then you're already overextending yourself with other people's problems? See the disconnect there? That's where like a lot of problems can come in. So if we're going to go into 2023, we're going to soar. We cannot be tied down with false burdens. Like mentally and physically, we only have so much that we can give outside of your immediate family, outside of your job description, what you get paid to do, from your 8 to 5 or your 7 to 7 or whatever it is, how you work. You get paid to do a certain thing and you have an immediate family and a household that you have to take care of. Mentally and physically, outside of that, there's only so much that we can or we are required to do. We never want to bring ourselves to the point where we're stretching ourselves thin all the time and oh my God, I'm barely making it, and we're barely making it not just because of the things we have going on in our life, but because of areas that we've overextended ourselves. So that's the thing. And before I go into all of this, there's nothing wrong with helping people in need, like giving to charity, volunteering, those different things. Nothing wrong with those things, in place and in balance, but what happens when you have a friend or a family member that does become like a charity case, like somebody that you're always giving to, and this only time you hear from this person is when they need something. That's the thing. And those are the things that we're trying to like cut off. We're trying to weed out. Those are the things that bring our productivity down. Those are the things that bring our energy down. Those are the things that bring us down mentally when we find ourselves pouring out in a lot of different areas and we're not receiving anything back. If you got good friends, you got good loved ones, they support you, they pray for you, they're there for you. It's a give and take. That's wonderful. But we all know those people who are going to use you till you have nothing else to give. And sometimes that's family, sometimes that's on the job, sometimes that's in organizations or community outreach situations that you're in. You have people in this world who are takers. And going into 2023, we cannot be a victim of those two people who are takers. They are always going to take. They're always going to find a next victim to take from. We cannot let that be us. Don't let it be you. So that's where we're going with this today. And this false burdens, it lies and it ties strictly into boundary setting and us having poor boundaries. And there are so many reasons for that. But false burdens are those things that you feel obligated to do that are not truly your responsibility. So you can see how that's clearly a boundary problem. So if this here, this is me and my family, my immediate family, what I have to take care of, the things that I'm responsible for. And then I got like this whole stack of stuff over here that somebody else thought I needed to do to help them out every week or every day or whatever. I can't handle all of this. I'm responsible for this. So why am I handling all of this? That's what we have to think about. People will guilt trip you into handling things for them. People will guilt trip you. Co-workers will guilt trip you. Oh, I just need, your help with this project. And, but it's every week you need help with a project. It's not once or twice a quarter, or, it's not, oh, you got like a big project that came up and, we all need to pitch in and kind of help this person out, something like that. And it's something that happens every now. It's not like that. It's a consistent. This person sees that you're not going to say no to them, so they keep coming back for more of your time, more of your energy, more of your resources. Those are the things that we're trying to cut off. Sometimes you have that family member, like I said, that always calls you when they need something. It's never reciprocated. People can tell if you are soft-hearted when you don't have the power to use your no. And that's a big thing, having the power to use your no. We have the ability. We can say yes, we can say no, we can say I can, we can say I can't. But it takes a power, if you're not used to doing that, to say, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm not available. Nah, not today. I don't think I'm gonna be able to participate in that. And just kind of like, it gets to a point, where you just like, you have to realize what's more important, your energy and your resources, or having this person happy with you all the time. Because honestly, they're not really happy with you. They just see what you can provide for them, what you can do for them. They see you as a rescue, all of those things. It's not like a genuine like love and reciprocation. Because somebody that loves you doesn't want you going beyond your max. Somebody that values you as a co-worker, as a their subordinate, values what you bring to the company. They're not going to constantly see that you're burned out and want to keep trying to max you out every single day or every single week. People who care about you and have a respectful relationship with you, they're not going to place you in those positions. So that's what you have to be careful of. People see your soft-heartedness, or they see your ability, your inability to say no, and they want to take advantage of that. And some people unknowingly take advantage of that. You have some people who they are the go-to person in their world or their circle. They do everything for everybody. They're the super helper. They over here helping with this, and they're in this committee, and they're in that church, and they do this on their job, and they have the kids at home and the soccer team. They do everything for everybody, and that's where they get their entire self-worth is wrapped up around how thin can I stretch myself. And sometimes these people will ask you to do things because their life is so busy. They will ask you to do something. They will ask you, they see that your life is not quite as busy as theirs, so they ask you, can you do something from them, or can you help out with this, or can you join this project, or can you join that committee, or can you do this to do that? If you're already at your max, and especially if this is not your responsibility or your problem, it's a no. They get and draw their self-worth from how thin they can stretch themselves by being everything to everybody. That's never a good thing, and that's never a good place to operate from. So we have to make sure, sometimes people don't always do it maliciously, but sometimes people will still do it. And either way it goes, that's not how it should be, and you are not required to participate in that. That is not your problem. So this is a year for, that's not my problem. You don't have to be rude, you don't have to be ugly, you don't have to do any of that. People who love you and respect you will notice when you will understand if you're at your max, even if they don't notice, because you don't want to get to the point where people are noticing, ooh, she's worn down, ooh, he's burnt out. You've already gone too far once you get to that point when people are noticing. They're having to come to you and say things like, oh, I know you're kind of, over, you're at your max right now, but that but lets you know, like, I don't care. That but means I don't care. So you don't want to get to the point. You want to maintain balance in your life where you're not getting to the point where you're like, oh my God, I am burnt out. I am at my lowest right now. Like, you don't even want to bring yourself to that point. So we want to make sure that we're jumping in before we get to that point to do what we need to do. And that comes with number one of taking inventory of what's going on in our life. Taking inventory of the who and the what in your life. When you find people that you're consistently giving out to and there's no reciprocation, there's tasks that you're consistently doing, it's not really your responsibility. You have those people that feel like you owe them something all the time. Oh, well, 10 years ago when we were in college, I helped you out with this class, and I helped you pass, and now y'all are at a different place in life. You may be a little above them in life, and they feel like they can call you every time they need something, or, oh, my mom helped you because your parents weren't there. It's like something like that, where a person feels like now, even though maybe their mom is long gone, you know, she's passed on. This person still feels like they can come to you and pick up the phone anytime they want to and say, you're indebted to me and my family, you know. Like, that is not how it should be. That is not how you should live your life. That's a guilt that you shouldn't have to deal with, and that's something that you have the power to say no to. It does not matter if someone has done something for you at some point in their life or your life. If there is not an even reciprocation in some type of way of that relationship, then you don't have to continue to go on in that. Some people see you having free time in your life, and they see, you know, that you are you have a balance. You know, they may see that maybe you don't have a balance, but they feel like their life is so much busier than yours for whatever. We are all different people. Like, we all have different amounts of things that we can take. Everybody is not built the same. You know, I am pregnant now, but I have friends who are single parents with 2 or 3 kids, and they are super moms. They are out there doing it, freaking handling things, and I find myself sometimes getting overwhelmed with, I don't have a child just yet. It's just me that I'm taking care of, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm stressed, you know. And they're out there doing it, handling for their families. They're working their jobs. They're doing it for their kids. You know, they're doing the soccer mom thing. They're doing all of that. Everybody can handle different things. We are not all built the same. And some people will see where you have free time, or maybe you have seemingly less of a load in your life. And they say, this is how they start the conversation. Well, you're not doing anything today, are you? You ain't got nothing to do this evening, do you? What you doing this weekend? Like, and you know this is not the person that you go and hang out with and have a drink with, or this is not the person that you go out, you know, and go to the movies with. They're not calling you for anything social. They're calling you to see how they can shorten your weekend and extend their own weekend. These are things that you have to look out for. These are things that you have to take inventory of. Those people who will slide into your life and see, hey, well, you have more free time. I'm a person, me. I call myself an introverted extrovert because I am introverted. I do like to think a lot. I like to write a lot. I like to plan a lot. Sometimes I don't even watch TV. I'm just like sitting in my room and I'm just like thinking or planning things. And it's not at all just like stress. It's just, I'm in my head a lot. I live in my head a lot. So to somebody else, it may look like I'm not doing nothing, but in my head, things are going on, and it may not be a physical activity, but that's where I am. But sometimes I say I'm an introverted extrovert because I can go out and I can get in front of people, and I'm lively, I'm happy, I'm a very jokey type of person, like all of that. So there was a time when I wasn't to that full place in my life, and I would hold back. I would be very shy, I would be very insecure, I'd be very much feel like I was less than other people that I was around. So when I got in social settings, I would not flourish. I would not communicate with other people. I would stay to myself. But thankfully, through just a lot of work, a lot of process, some of the things that I talk to you guys here about, some of the things that I talk about on my Instagram or Facebook, through a lot of work, I've got to that place now where I can get in front of a group of people that I don't know, and it's like I'm besties with everybody because I'm confident in who I am now, you know, and I realize that who I am, that person is enough. So it may look like I'm doing absolutely nothing to somebody else, and it may look like you're doing absolutely nothing. You may be at home, you and your pet chilling, you on the couch, you know, with your cup of coffee, your cup of wine, whatever you're doing, and to somebody else it looks like you're not doing anything. But that's your rest time. That's your thinking time. That is your whatever you feel like doing in your house, minding your business time. So that has nothing to do with them, and they don't have the right, just because they see that you have a block of free time consistently, that they can ask you to do something with said free time all the time. No. As I said, nothing wrong with every now and then a one-off helping somebody. Nothing wrong with that, because we are, you know, blessed to be able to give or to help somebody else here and there. But when you see that somebody is making a habit of it and they're using your kindness for weakness, that's when that needs to be stopped. And people will mismanage their own time. Some people are addicted to busyness, not business, busyness. they like to be doing something all the time. They like to have something going on all the time. And they would call you to join in on that with them. Not me. I am okay. Like sitting at my house, like doing nothing. I'm totally okay with that. And you may be totally okay with that too. Just kind of, we need to breathe sometimes. But some people live and thrive off of busyness. And there are some other underlying things that usually go with that. Some people are just active, extroverted people. But those people who are usually just genuinely active and extroverted people, if they're in your life and they've been around you, they know that you're not that kind of person. So they're not going to just infringe on you all the time and just ask you to come here and do this and do that. They understand. There are those other people who live a life of busyness. And that's where they get their self-worth. If they feel like their life is going to fall apart if they're not busy. And it's not a good thing, and it's something that you don't want yourself to get drawn into, because it's not from a genuine place. It's actually from a place of like low self-worth. If I'm not doing something, if I'm not overextending myself for other people, people won't love me if I don't do this. That's what's going on in the back of their mind. It's not from a genuine place. So don't allow yourself to get drawn into that. Any time and energy that we expend outside of the home, it must always be an even exchange if you find that it's like a consistent thing. And sometimes we have to be mindful of, like, let's say you have a close friend, somebody who is there for you. This person supports you. If you need some money, they're there for you with that money. If they need some of your, you need some of their time, they're there for you. It's an even exchange. It's a balance with this friendship. There's really care and there's really support there. But you find, like, let's say that person calls you up and you're like, oh my God. Last few times they called you up, you're dead. Like dead tired, dead to the world. You just can't seem to meet them where they are, even though they're giving their needed part in the relationship. That's when we have to look into ourselves internally and see, where else am I overextending myself? Sometimes a reflection is needed. And a lot of times I'll find that may happen. It may not be this friend. It may be something on the job. You may have that boss that's always coming into your office 5 minutes before time for you to leave and dropping something on your desk. It's time for me to go. I got to get out of here. So you are tired. You're overworked from work. People are putting things on you that should not be on you. That's not a part of your job description for someone to hand you a big stack of something right before you get ready to leave out the door and say, oh, I need this done this evening. No, that should not be a consistent thing. That should not be a consistent thing. That's the area where we need to stand up. But that's how imbalances happen. And that's also how we can lose sometimes good friends. If we're overextending ourselves in one area, we can lose good spouses like that. If we're overextending ourselves for the job and we're not making that balance happen back at home, people can only deal with so much imbalance in a relationship if they're doing their part, and rightfully so. And we have to be mindful of that and be respectful of that there should be a balance with people who are really trying in your life to be there for you like you're there for them. So you want to see, like, where am I off balance? What relationships am I not serving right now in my life that I can get better at? So you want to make sure that you're kind of looking over your entire life and you're taking inventory on that thing. This is a pretty deep topic. There are so many things that goes into it. Your upbringing goes into it. Different traumas that you've had in life, many factors. It's so much that goes into it that I do teach about, that I do talk about, just setting boundaries, all of that, setting up the structure that you need in life and overcoming these things. But not for here. We would be talking all day. But we got to get our new year kicked off correctly, y'all. So we're popping into this topic. We're kind of getting some highlights. And we want to start off this year with a balance. So we're going to take inventory of the tasks and the people in our life, clearly define who and what is and is not your responsibility, okay? Who and what is and is not your responsibility. Take inventory. Don't feel guilty for using the word no. Don't feel guilty for saying I can't. You don't have to give anyone a long, drawn out I'm so sorry, no, I can't, I have to do this, I have to do that. Honestly, if somebody's motives are wrong, they're not going to care. You could say, I have to tend to a family member, who's on life support. They won't care, because all they care about is getting their need fulfilled. they don't care. They're going to find a way to gaslight you. They're going to find a way to make you feel guilty. So you don't even have to go into long drawn out explanations. Your no should be your no. When your yes is your yes, that's your yes. But your no should be your no. I can't handle that right now. I'm not able to take that on. I'm sorry, you're going to have to get somebody else to handle that. You don't even have to go into a long drawn out explanation, because honestly, even if the person is not really like intentionally with the wrong motives, it doesn't matter what your reasoning is. You just can't right now. So if it's something you could do later, within balance now, because we don't just want to indebted ourselves to doing things later. Because we're still at the same problem. You want to cut things off. You want to cut these patterns off. You want to cut these situations and people out of your life by letting them know no. So with some people, I can handle it later. That's just a way for them to guilt you into it next week. So your no, your I can't. If it's somebody that you trust and you value, and you're just kind of at your max right now, this is a decent person in your life, then you can give them a small explanation, but it's not necessary. Oh, I can't handle that today. I'm sorry. You may want to check with somebody else and see if they can do it. Moving on with life. Don't overschedule yourself, and do not stretch yourself thin. You will pay for it mentally and physically. As I said, we all have what we can take and what we can't take. Some people are just like, I just look at them, they're like super men and super women, just super people. They can handle so much. And it looks to me like they're doing it with grace. I don't know what's going on in their life. I don't know how they feel. I don't know what kind of situation their health is in. I don't know, but I know what I can handle. And it's up to you to know what you can handle, and know that you have a max and a limit. And you don't want to go past that consistently, where you always, because if I'm always bringing myself to my limit for things that are not necessary, what happens when something comes up that really is necessary? What comes up when I really do need to do that charity? If I've given XYZ family member, this, that loan or whatever, and they're coming to me every week or every other week for that loan, and somebody else that really needs something is coming to me, and I'm already maxed out because I've given frivolously to someone who's mismanaging, what is that saying? If I've sat here and ran errands and just done something on a consistent basis, taking on a task or a responsibility for somebody who is really ungrateful, and just that's not something that's my responsibility whatsoever. I just did it because I felt guilty and I didn't want to say no. What happens when something comes up that you really do need to do something for your immediate family, and you just stretch so thin because you've been doing everything else out there? So don't let yourself get stretched thin. Do not let yourself get to the point where you're overscheduled. You want to operate in just kind of like from a place of balance and from a place of peace. When you're stretched thin and when you're overscheduled, you're not operating in peace, because you're always wondering, oh, what's going on? I gotta be here, I gotta do that, I gotta do that. Everything is right at the edge all the time. You don't want to be at that place. You want to operate from peace, and you want to operate from a flow. So don't find yourself at that place. And you want to have time to prioritize and reflect. This allows you to renew yourself. This allows you to be clear-headed. If we find that we're just not giving ourselves time to reflect, you don't really know what's going on. You're just kind of moving from here to there. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You need to give yourself time. Going back to my journals that I always talk about, journaling is good because it allows you to reflect on paper. It allows you to see what happened. Journaling may not be your thing, but just take some time, some meditative time to yourself, some prayer time to yourself, something where you can just get quiet and see where you are in life and where your imbalances may be, and you want to reflect and see, hey, how can I go forward? Kind of removing these things and making sure that everything goes better. You may not have said no. When that boss handed you that last minute task, you may not have said no this week, but you should be coming back and you should be reflecting on that, and next week you should be saying no. I can't. Now I'll handle this tomorrow. I don't care if I did it 1,000 times. Today is a new day. We're not going to continue to do that. That would be a good place where you can give more than just a no, because they're used to you doing something all the time, and you let them know, no, I get off at this time, I can handle that on tomorrow, or you're going to have to find somebody else to do that. because I have my regular work that I have to do tomorrow, and this is becoming a habit, and that's not what we signed up for and what we agreed to. So you gotta just, sometimes it takes that extra. It's gonna be hard. It's a muscle that you have to work out, and that you have to keep working that muscle of saying no, because it's gonna feel very awkward at first to say no to people that you're used to saying yes to all the time. Feels very awkward, but you can do it. You can work on that muscle. You can get stronger. Life is hard to balance sometimes, but when we have poor boundaries and tendency to let people misuse us, that makes it absolutely miserable. Like, just normal life can be a challenge, like a obstacle course sometimes, if you will. But just think about normal life challenges plus everybody else's problems and everybody else's burdens, who feel like, oh, I want to call you up at any time. I have been there. I have been there for years. I looked for that call. I looked for, please give me something, to do, please include me. Like, I was that person, I wanted to be needed, in the organization that I was in. And I felt like, oh my God, if I'm not needed, if I'm not being called upon, oh, I'm not meeting the standards, So I always wanted to be that go-to person, but all it did was burn me out, because I didn't have balance in my life, and I wasn't learning how to prioritize me. And there's always things you can give. There's always ways you can participate while maintaining the balance in your life. And I'll be sharing more on strengthening our boundaries. I'll be sharing more on staying in your authenticity. I'll be just sharing more about my journey and overcoming these things, because it took some years for me to be able to use my no appropriately, with power, and just to really be like, oh well, people are going to feel a certain way after you turn them down, but it is what it is, because you have to look out for your own self, your best interest, and those who are leaning on you, depending on you within your immediate family, who you're actually responsible for taking care of. If you're expending all your energy out everywhere else, what about your children? What about your spouse? What about your partner? What about those people? They're suffering because you're overstretching yourself with everybody else. So we have to maintain, and we have to be just aware of that. We have to realize we have to stay in balance. I am going to be teaching a workshop at the end of this month. It's going to be a free workshop. I don't know if it'll be about this topic specifically, but I know this topic is probably going to come up. So stay tuned for details about that, because I have not set the date yet. But let me know in the comments if these are topics that you're interested in. If you have some topics that are kind of close to this that you want to talk about. If this was helpful for you in any way, just let me know, because as we're going forward in this year, we want to help each other. We want to help one another. We want to get to a better place, and we can get to a better place. That's the most important part, knowing that we can get to a better place, and in order to achieve the goals, the desires, the resolutions, the different things that we have, some things are going to have to be placed by the wayside, and that's okay. It does not make you a bad person. It makes you a person who's focused, and it makes you a person who is serious about the way that they're trying to go in their life. So I do thank you for tuning in. I look forward to being with you guys on the next time. Drop a comment. Please like, share, and definitely subscribe if you're not a part, so you won't miss what will be coming next. And thank you so much. Have a good evening, day or night, wherever it is that you are in the world.